Hello, Guardians and Gamers, and welcome back. So I'm going to call this a deep dive into Bungie's deep dive of Prismatic and what we can start putting together for some Prismatic builds. This one's going to be for the Hunter. Check out the other videos if you want to take a look at what the Warlock and the Titan Prismatic builds could look like. I'm going to try to make this as impromptu and short as possible, just to kind of give you guys, what you're going to be looking at. We can't really get into the new exotic class item because there isn't too much info about it to go off of what, the combinations of exotic perks, whether it's off of different classes that we will be able to mix into it. But yeah, get into this. And first off, taking a look at the Prismatic Hunter picture of what we're looking at here. So this will well be your Prismatic subclass. As you can see, you'll be able to mix and match your supers, your grenades, your melee abilities, your aspects, and your fragments. How a lot of those fragments are going to look, they do have some of them in here. So let's take a quick look. Like I said, so the subclass on here obviously is stasis. We have your dodge, you have your jump, obviously triple jump. You also do have your shuriken that you're able to throw, your stasis shuriken, and you do have your solar. I do believe this is the scatter grenade. We also do have a stasis aspect here. So this stasis aspect is Winter's Shroud. So this just dodging near targets will slow the targets. The next aspect that is there is the Void aspect for Stylish Executioner. Some of these fragments that really do work with Stylish Executioner, we'll have to see how they work, but I'm really hoping that we're still able to use some of the subclass fragments. Not 100% sure on that yet because it doesn't exactly say, and I don't want to say, oh, we're going to be able to do this. So, like I said, try to make it as impromptu as possible. So a lot of these different fragments that we have here. Moving on, let's get down into the chart of what we're going to be able to mix and match. All right, so the Hunter is getting a new arc super ability, or basically like another arc subclass. So the super is going to be called Storm's Edge. Your melee is going to be a combination blow. Your grenade is going to be the arc bolt grenade, and your aspect for that arc subclass is going to be Ascension. It doesn't exactly give you what everything is going to be able to. Obviously, arc bolt grenade is arc bolt, not really going to change. But Ascension, I would be really interested in what that is going to do. Next up, we've got for the super, the Golden Gun, the Marksman Golden Gun. We've also got Stasis that we can mix together. So your Stasis super, as well as your Strand super, as well as your Void Shadow Shot Deadfall super. So that's going to be the one that that lasts longer. Instead of getting the two shots, you just get the one. You can trap enemies. That also debuffs those enemies that are trapped. So depending on which weapons or which aspects that you're able to use, or combinations of fragments that you're able to use, could make you invisible, could make enemies explode, different things like that. So these are going to be the different supers that you can mix and match. Obviously, you've got your Marksman dodge, Gambler's dodge, and Acrobat dodge if you're on your solar, using your solar stuff there, or whatever you want to mix and match. You have your different jumps. Like I said, you do also have a jump, your melee, so you can mix and match your melees. You do have your, like I said, combination blow, your knife trick. Would have been nice to actually have a weighted knife. You also have your Withering Blade, so that's that shuriken thing that you can throw out. You have your Threaded Spike. It's also like a shuriken that you could throw out for Strand, and you do also have Snare Bomb. I don't believe you're going to have the aspect yet. Obviously, it's not in here that, you can jump in the air and dive and make yourself go in. hit the ground. So that kind of sucks. But you do have your snare bomb. Your snare bomb does also debuff enemies, so keep that in mind as well. So different grenades that we can mix together. You have your arc bolt grenade, you have your swarm grenade, your dusk field grenade, your grapple, your magnetic grenade. I don't ever think I have used magnetic grenade ever. So some of the aspects that we are able to mix together is going to be this new ascension, the gunpowder gamble. So the gunpowder gamble, you can throw that thing in the air, shoot it. We also do have Winter's Shroud, the one that I pointed out to you there in the subclass. For Strand, we have the Threaded Spectre. Bungie is basically mixing together a lot of everything that we don't use very much in the subclasses. Threaded Spectre. So activating your class ability leaves behind a decoy woven from strand matter that draws the attention and patents. It's also a pain in the butt in PvP, especially when you shoot it, because then it pops out threadling. So after taking significant damage or a combatant approaches the decoy, detonates, dealing damage and releasing threadlings that sneak out and attack nearby foes. So like I said, in PvP, if you shoot that little decoy, it's going to pop out some threadlings and chase you down. You can shoot threadlings to destroy them, but it takes more time. So moving on, everything else in here. So the other aspect is stylish executioner. So when you do finishers on enemies, it will make you invis. Right off the bat, I'm kind of looking forward to mixing a whole bunch of these together, obviously, but one that I wanted to point out that I want to mix together, depending on how this is really going to work with our new class item, exotic class item, where we can mix and match different exotics into. This one right here, I want to put on my Stasis Super. Obviously, I'm probably going to go with either Marksman Dodge or Gambit Dodge. Triple Jump, definitely. For the melee ability, I would probably put on either Knife Trick or this combination below, see what it's exactly going to do. But with the rest of that, I want to put on Grapple, as well as I'm going to say Stylish Executioner. And I want to see how it's going to work with the Assassin's Cowl and see what we're going to be able to, some of these other exotic perks that we can mix and match. Like I said, we don't have a list yet of what exotics we're going to be able to mix and match on that exotic subclass, or on that exotic class item, sorry. But when it does come out, I am definitely going to put a video together for it. With what else we've got going on here, we do have a list of some of the fragments, I do believe is what we have. Yeah, so our here's a list of the fragment options you can forward to. So we're going to be getting Facet of Balance, so rapidly defeating targets with light damage grants energy. Rapidly defeating targets with dark damage grants grenade energy. So any type of light damage or any type of dark damage. So within your prismatic subclass that you're mixing together, if you do mix light and dark together, you're going to get a Facet of Balance to be able to proc, which you're either going to get melee or your energy back. To keep in mind also, that is going to be mixing and matching some of the different weapons. Stasis weapons, obviously that's darkness energy if you're killing enemies or you're damaging enemies with some of these. If you're using void weapons, that is a light damage that you're doing, or it's solar, or you're doing arc damage. Even with some of your heavy weapons, some are arc, some are void. So keep that in mind when you're putting together these builds. You want to get the best benefit out of using a lot of these fragments. Also, we got Facet of Bravery. So defeating targets with grenades grants volatile rounds to your void weapon. Defeating targets with powered melee final blows grants unraveling rounds to your and weapons. So like even something like this, if you were to put it in there, so defeating targets with grenades grants volatile rounds, void weapon, defeating targets with powered melee grants those unraveling rounds. So even if you were to put on the grapple, you pull yourself towards a target and you smash them, that's going to be a melee ability. You can switch over to your strand weapon and be able to have those unraveling rounds on your weapon. Or if you have a different grenade on, like you have a void grenade on, you're able to toss that out as well and get those volatile rounds. Next up, we got Facet of Dawn. So powered melee hits against targets makes you radiant. Powered melee final blows make both you and nearby allies radiant. So it's a good thing that they popped that in there as well. Obviously, radiant, a buff for you that is solar weapons as well as your solar subclass, if that's what you or your solar super, a lot more powerful. Next up, we've got Facet of Defiance. So finishers create a detonation that either jolts, torches, slows, or severs, or makes targets volatile based on the damage type of your equipped super. So this would probably be something, if I was using Stylish Executioner, this would probably be something that I would throw in there as well. So you're getting the volatile as well as going invid. So Facet of Dominance, your void grenades weaken and arc grenades jolt targets. So if you're, depending on how you're debuffing and mixing things together, and even some of the weapons that we have, one I would do point out is definitely going to be Collective Obligation. This one is actually fairly decent if you know how to put it together, and it's not a weapon that's used. This is also the weapon so this weapon is from Vow of the Disciple. You can grind for it. Might get it on the first time, you might get it on the 100th time grind, but it is going to be a very decent weapon. Like I said, take a look at what it's. So Void Leech. This weapon leeches void debuffs when damaging targets that are suppressed, weakened, or volatile. Once charged, press to swap firing modes. In this mode, damaging from this weapon applies the same void debuff that were leaked. It also has the Umbral Sustenance. This weapon's magazine is automatically reloaded when you gain Devour, a Void Overshield, or become invisible. So depending on how you're mixing that together, whether it's just in the Void subclass alone or you're in the Prismatic subclass, this thing could be pretty. Next up is Facet of Generosity. So defeating targets while Transcendent creates orbs of power for allies. Could be useful. Facet of Grace. So damaging targets with kinetic weapons grants you bonus Transcendent energy. This probably will be a very good. Beating targets with your super grants you and nearby allies bonus Transcendent energy. I'm going to be pretty useful. Facet of Hope. So while you have an elemental buff, your class ability regenerates more quickly. And like it said, it is going to be one of the starting fragments that you will have available. Same with Facet of Dawn. Next up, we've got Facet of Justice. So while Transcendent, your ability final blows explode. Pretty cool to have going. How your super is, this thing could be pretty interesting. So Facet of Protection. This is going to be another starting fragment. While surrounded by enemies, you are more resilient to damage. That's always a good thing depending on what type of encounter you are in. We've also got another starting one. So Facet of Purpose. Picking up orbs of power grant either amplified restoration, frost armor, woven mail, or overshield based on the damage type are equipped, or your equipped super. So obviously, if you have a void on, you're going to get an overshield. If you have strand on, you're going to get woven mail. If you have stasis on, you're going to get frost armor. Solar on, you're going to get restoration. If you have arc on, you're going to get amplified. So that is quite decent, actually. Anything you use is going to give you an overshield, some type of way, by picking up those orbs. Next up, is another starting fragment. We have Facet of Ruin. So this increases the size and damage of the burst when you shatter a stasis, crystal, or frozen target, and increase the size of solar emission. Another one I wanted to point out for the Hunter, you also are going to have the Hunter ability. I do believe it is a grenade. So throw a device charged with stasis matter and solar energy that attaches to surfaces or targets, and then erupts into a glowing storm. After a short duration, the device ignites, creating a deadly scorching cyclone. I can't wait to see that. Honestly, I really can't wait to see that. Especially the one for the Warlock. I really can't wait to see the Warlock. But that's for a different video. So this one, take the information and mix and match. Take a look at this post from Bungie. It does have a lot of really good information for it. I will be linking it in the video, so definitely check it out. Mix and match everything. Think what you can put together and how things are going to work. For the next video, I will also be linking it in the description down below for Titan as well as Warlock. Definitely checking out well. The subs, the likes, comments are going to be greatly appreciated. Everybody, until next time, you guys be safe and take care.